Welcome to the #InvestThis podcast, where the secrets for real estate investing are revealed. Now, here's your host, Scott Bauer.
Welcome everybody to the 57th episode of the #InvestThis podcast. I'm your host, Scott Bauer. Today, we have an international individual with us today, Kyle Reidhead. And he's out of Indonesia. So a little bit about Kyle. He's an online health coach that helps busy business professionals lose weight and improve performance in the workplace. He focuses on making health a priority and using biohacking techniques to improve productivity, creativity, and longevity. He helped lead a company from startup to an international business by optimizing his health, and has since created a digital wellness channel to empower others to do the same. Kyle is now following his dream of living on an island. He lives currently in Bali, Indonesia, and taking advantage of its world-class surf, yoga, and organic cuisine while he continues to run his online business and help others achieve optimal health and performance. So with that being said, welcome to the show, Kyle. Why don't you give the listeners a little bit more about your background and what you're focused on now?
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the intro. Just to start, I'm from Toronto. I'm not actually from Indonesia, from Toronto, Canada, though, but it gets pretty cold there. So I've recently made the move out to Bali, as you mentioned. But my background in school, anyway, was in science and health science, so in kinesiology, and basically learning everything about nutrition and exercise. And then after I graduated, I actually got into a sales position with a healthcare company that was just getting started. I mean, we were working in the attic of a chiropractic clinic. Didn't really have desks or anything. It was basically an idea that we've turned into an international organization that's in Australia, US, Canada, etc. So it was a blast. It was a lot of fun, being a part of the startup life and transforming a company. But for me, I wanted to run my own business. I wanted my own baby. And that's where I kind of left the corporate world and started my own company, HealthSimple, as well as started coaching clients one-on-one to optimize their health and optimize their performance. And the big reason for that is when I was working as sales and in that corporate world, it gets really busy. It gets really stressful. You start to lose sleep and kind of forget about exercise and the way that you eat, and you start to feel like crap. And I noticed that. And luckily I was young enough that I didn't have any big health issues that occurred from it. But I knew I was going to be on that way. So I really dialed in my nutrition, my exercise, my sleep, stress, etc. And kind of fixed it to the point that I felt so good every day, full of energy, waking up rested. And I think that's something that not a lot of people, especially a busy professional, they don't really feel that. So I kind of made it a goal and a mission of mine to help others achieve the same, because you don't just feel good, but you perform at a much higher level too. So that's kind of where I'm at now. And about a month and a half ago, I moved to Bali to continue to pursue that and learn from others here that are digital entrepreneurs, but also figure out how to surf because it's something I've been wanting to do and get consistent at for a while.
Man, hats off to you, Kyle, because I think that a lot of people would be scared to do what you've done, right? They're scared to completely take away everything that you've ever known living in Canada to move somewhere that's totally strange and new. But hats off to you. I'm sure you've grown a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I'm about jumping into the unknown. I think that's what makes you kind of thrive and grow as a human. And so I love challenges, and that's why I went into sales. I think that's a huge challenge, especially I didn't have a sales background. I never did sales, but I just kind of jumped in, had no idea what I was doing, got on calls and completely screwed up what I would say. But you just figure it out, right? You get into that unknown, and that's when your body really goes, okay, let's figure this thing out. And for me, that's where I thrive. That's what's fun. And so that's kind of what I've just continued to do and am going to continue to do because it allows me to grow.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's absolutely the truth. All growth happens on the other side of fear, right? When you push through something that is the unknown, whatever happens after that fact, you're going to learn something. So that is amazing that you've done that. Very cool. For the listeners out there, it is 7:30 in the morning where he's at, and I'm here in Arizona. You're in Indonesia, and I'm here in Arizona, and it's 4:40 in the afternoon. So quite a time difference here.
Yeah,
and it's just the power of technology, right? That we're able to have this conversation right now. It's phenomenal.
It's so cool. And I mean, I run a podcast as well. And I mean, all my clients are in North America for the most part. But the timing still works out because I'm an early riser. So I get up in the morning and do all my calls. And, you know, for the most part, it's right after work. So it works out really well. So, yeah.
Well, I guess let's talk about the business a little bit. You were able to move international. Well, actually, let's back that up. Back in episode 48, we heard from an individual with CrossFit Blur, which is my CrossFit gym that I go to, and he was talking about the importance of health. And I'm a firm believer in the same thing that you're saying as well. If you don't have health, you literally have nothing else. You can't perform in business. You can't perform in anything if you don't have your health. I'm a huge health advocate. I think that, I mean, I start my day at 4:50 in the morning every single day, and that's my routine. And it's been like that for a couple of years now, going on 5, I guess. And it's allowed me to succeed in levels and in places where I don't think that I would have had that not been my routine. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how are you able to have clients internationally, have an online platform? I mean, let's talk about that for a minute.
Mm-hmm. How? I mean, one is because the beauty of technology.
Right. Amen.
But two, it's, you know, I'm able to find so much more time in the day than I think most people are. And for one, it's because of what you said. You're up nice and early, you know, before the sun's up, and you get your self-care in, I assume, before, you know, the day, before anyone else is even awake. You start to answer your emails and get started before, again, anyone else is even awake. And, you know, by the time people are starting to get up, you know, you've already accomplished a ton of work. And so it allows you to really function on this level that is, you know, superior to most. And, you know, it's not just about waking up early. You don't want to deprive yourself of sleep, of course. It's really this holistic approach of eating properly, moving enough, you know, managing your stress. So being mindful, if it has to be meditation or breathing or whatever it is, but making sure that you're managing your hormones and your stress, and then getting enough sleep. And when you can do all these things, your body becomes and your mind becomes so in tune. And there's a few benefits that I find from focusing on your health. And one is performance, which we just sort of spoke about. You know, you don't just get more time in the day, but you actually can focus better. You can think more clearly. So the tasks that you're doing, you actually complete a lot quicker than someone who, let's say, has brain fog and eats a lot of processed food and fast food. So the performance is huge. The other thing is you never get sick. I never am sick. And if I do, it's for like 24 hours real quick. And, you know, my body just beats it off. So I never have to take weeks or days off work. You know, I'm always kind of on the ball every single day. And I think that is a massive thing, because I know when I was working in an office, I'd see people sick all the time. And who wants to be sick? That's brutal. The other thing is longevity, right? You know, if you could be 55 years old and still be functioning at the level of a 35-year-old, well, that's amazing. You know, you can continue to work, or if you decide to retire and sell a company, or you've saved up enough money, well, you can retire and then still live a good, happy life where you can travel and move and do whatever you want, right? If you just allow yourself to, you know, live this unhealthy life where your body just breaks down and all of a sudden you retire and you can barely even move, well, what good is that, right? So there's a lot of different advantages to focusing on your health, in my opinion, and it allows you to do so much more with your life, not just in the workplace, but everything.
You've noticed that I've been nodding my head the entire time for everything that you've been saying, because I just couldn't agree more. I think that it's something that in today's society, everybody wants everything to happen now, right? They want to flip the switch, and you know, you want to live forever, but you don't want to do any work for it. You want to make all the money in the world, but you don't want to do any work for it. You want to be fit, you want to be, you know, everything, but you don't want to do any work for it. And the same goes in business. In today's world, everybody thinks that you can, you know, flip a switch or start an online business and all of a sudden you get rich. And the reality of it is that it's a long game. We're playing a long game, trying to play a long game. Without health, you don't have anything else. So, who's your primary clientele? I mean, who do you go after?
So my main clientele is busy professionals. So those who, are kind of high performers and want to achieve, big things, but they put all their time into their work and not into their health. So it's not that they can't be healthy on their own. It's just that they don't have time to figure out which foods they should be eating or what kind of exercises they should be doing, or whatever else, or maybe just don't understand that how important sleep is. So it's typically that, high level sales, high level management, those that are trying to achieve big things, but just don't feel great. And maybe aren't sure why. And so then I come in and go, okay, well, let's look and see what we're doing here. And then, I'll work to build different aspects of health, whether it be nutrition and exercise, but figure out how to do it in a way that's timely, that doesn't take away from your business. It doesn't take away from the success that you're trying to achieve, because ultimately, that's what we want to do. Whatever your passion is, I want you to keep pushing towards that, not waste 3 hours cooking every single day and 2 hours in the gym, etc. Unless you want to do that, then that's cool. But most people don't. And so, I've developed strategies and systems to, allow people to still eat real food and healthy food that is home cooked, but, maybe doing it by meal prepping and setting yourself up so that you can bring food to work and, get in your exercise, but it doesn't need to take a full hour. So it's just kind of optimizing, how busy professionals look at their health. And so that's typically where I go. I do have a lot of clients that come in just looking for some weight loss, whether they're professional or not. You get a lot of people that they just want to lose weight. They want their six pack for summer. So I do take on some of those clients as well. But my niche, my preference, and the most fun for me is the high level, business professionals that just want to optimize and feel good.
So, the listeners out there that are listening to this podcast, there's certainly those busy professionals out there, right? They could just go to an LA Fitness and get a fitness center of some sort and get a trainer that way. Maybe, that would be a short workout program that maybe would include also some nutrition. But how could somebody approach you, and who would be that person? They're talking about, like, do you put together a plan that's maybe like a 6-month plan at a time, where it includes the nutrition plus?
The way it typically works is about a 3-month, it depends on the individual, but usually 3 or 6 month packages. And the way that we do it is just one call a week. They're kind of accountability calls where we set up goals and figure out where we need to go next. So one of the big issues is if you go to a gym or you go somewhere, they just give you a full diet plan, a full exercise program, say sleep this much and meditate. And it's like, well, that's so much to change all at once. Even if you're someone who's like super into health, you're not going to change your whole diet, your exercise routine, and everything all at once. It's just not sustainable. And so, I often get people that go, I've tried diet plans and this and that, but it's just too much. And so what I do is on a weekly basis, we kind of talk it out, we discuss and figure out, okay, where's your weakest point? What do we need to change this week? And then we focus on just one thing. So maybe that's adding in more vegetables. I don't know. If that's at the level that you're at, then that's where we'll start. Maybe it's, getting a good breakfast in, or maybe it's, changing the way that we drink and manage our coffee, because some people have that whole system messed up. So it just depends on what's going on with that person. And so it's really specific to who they are. And we build off of it each week so that you actually develop habits that are sustainable. And so 3 months down the road, when I leave and I'm no longer with you, it's just ingrained in you now to eat healthy, to find time to exercise, to get your 8 hours of sleep, etc. So you're not relying on someone and paying someone every single week, every single month, because you don't have the accountability and you don't have those habits. So I really try to set people up so that they don't need me anymore, because that's my favorite thing. When someone, 6 months down the road, I'm no longer with that client and I see that they're still going to the gym and they're still eating well and they've, kept that weight off. That's what makes me happy. That's what fulfills me. So it's kind of these, it's this sort of system where we just build off of it, but it depends on the individual and where they're currently at. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I would say that just putting that in motion for people is probably one of the most difficult things, right? And so you're kind of there to lead them down that path. Now, we mentioned at the beginning of the call here, you can help people to, and this is maybe a little change, but to biohack their brain to improve performance. And is that what you mean by that when you're trying to get them into these, routines and rituals?
So for most people, it's starting with the fundamentals. So I wouldn't even call it a biohack, but it's, eating real food. So getting out all the fast food and the processed food. It's getting exercising. It's, understanding your thoughts and your anxiety or your stress or whatever it is you're having. So kind of the basics of health. Once we get to that point, then it's the fun stuff where we can start to, I guess you can call it biohack. And that's where you can just sort of reach a whole nother level where you feel like Superman every single day. And so I don't know what sort of diet you eat or what you do. A lot of people like bulletproof coffee, putting MCT oil in their coffee in a fasted state. When you do this, you just feel like you have superpowers for like 2-3 hours in the morning. Is that something you do?
Dude, I'm an intermittent fasting guy. I only eat from 12 to 8. And
okay,
I actually
awesome.
eat just a very high fat diet. So I try to limit carbs to 20 grams a day or less. Really 0 carbs if possible, because that literally allows me to go all day long. And I actually, at the beginning of this week, just did a full 24-hour fast.
Nice.
And I'm going to try to do maybe even a 3-day fast to see kind of what the effects are. I think that it's kind of an unknown for people. It's not socially out there that people do fast like that. But man, did I feel phenomenal just in a 24-hour fast.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is people need to understand that, you can eat carbohydrates and it's fine. You can still be healthy, but try going on the ketogenic diet, or not even keto, but just eating a high fat and lessening your carbs, and watch how clear you feel. For most people, not everyone, but most people are going to feel really clear because you're getting into a state where you're using ketones instead of sugar. So it's a much cleaner source of energy. And then on top of that, you throw in intermittent fasting where you're just not eating at all. This just gives your body and your cells of your body time to just rejuvenate and recover instead of trying to break down food all the time, which most people, they're eating all day or snacking all day. And when you fast or when you're in a state of ketosis, basically what's happening is that your body is able to just function at a much higher level. The mitochondria, the part of your cell that creates energy, can produce energy much faster. So all of a sudden you become way more focused. Your attention is so much better. People will ask you questions and all of a sudden you'll just be able to answer them. No problem. You're like, wow, how did I do that so quickly? Your memory gets better. Everything just starts to improve because your body isn't focused on digesting and cleaning things out. It's just in a state where it can just do what it needs to do. And actually, we've been fasting for millions and millions of years. Since the beginning of time, we've been fasting, not necessarily purposefully, but just it was tough to find food. And if we didn't get smarter and better and more focused when we fasted, humans wouldn't really exist anymore. So, we actually find the longer that you fast to a certain extent, the more focused you get and the more energy you start to get. So you almost reach your superhuman powers the longer that you fast. So it's great that you've been doing that. Intermittent fasting is something I do as well. Absolutely love it. And something I get a lot of my clients on as well.
I get not in arguments, but because it's hard. Some people, the people at my CrossFit gym, they're in great shape, right? Mm-hmm. But they're eating, I work out at 6 a.m. So I get up at 4:50, but I work out at 6 a.m. and they've already had a meal before 6 a.m. And they're not overweight by any means, but I can tell that is not needed for them. I mean, I just am so much further ahead, and my energy level and my focus in the morning is so much higher than theirs, and I know exactly why. When I try to tell them about it, they don't want to hear it. And a lot of people don't want to hear it, right? I mean, that's the reality of it.
And that's the thing. You can look good on a lot of different diets and doing a lot of different types of workouts, et cetera. But it comes down to, do you want to feel your best? And then the other thing is too, if you want to eat 5-6 meals a day and then, train CrossFit for 2 hours every day, that's time consuming. How are you going to run a business or be an entrepreneur or, put your time into work if you're eating food and cooking food all day, right? So if you can dial it down and get to a point where you need to have 2, maybe 3 meals in a day, or you go 16 hours straight without eating, you save so much more time, and then you can put your time and effort into something else. So, and you don't, if you do it correctly, then you're not losing any muscle from it, and you can still get good gains and still, look fantastic while doing it. So, I guess it depends on the lifestyle you want to live. For me and for a lot of my clients, we want to optimize our time. And so if we can eat less, then that's fantastic.
Well, the listeners of this podcast are all business professionals, so I know that they're going to get a lot of value out of this. The next question I'm going to ask you, I think, is very, very applicable, and we've already kind of talked about it, but it's how can they manage stress? The majority of the people are real estate associated investors, realtors, people like that are listening to this show. There's a lot of stress in it. It can go anywhere from projects that are not going well to not being able to find clients, not being able to buy houses at a deep enough discount, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Money gets tight, whatever it is. How can some of these individuals that are listening to this podcast utilize some of your tricks to be able to manage that stress?
Yeah, great question. And, the first thing is just to recognize it. I think a lot of times we just allow stress to take over and we just continue on with our day and keep trying to push through it. The biggest thing is to just stop. When you start to feel, maybe it's butterflies in your stomach, or you start to feel, something happening where you're like, okay, I'm a little bit stressed, or maybe it's anxious or whatever it is, take a step back, stop, and just ask yourself why you're stressed. What is it that's going on? And just try to figure it out, right? Because a lot of times we're stressed for something that, is for absolutely no reason. So if you could ask yourself why, and then you figure out why, and you go, well, why am I stressed about that? And you keep asking yourself and sort of walk yourself through this path. Eventually you go, I don't even know what I'm stressed about. This is so stupid. And it'll be gone. But I mean, that doesn't always happen, because definitely things can be stressful and you want to know what's up. But so you stop, recognize that you have, and go, okay, first of all, stress is a good thing. Stress means that you're getting out of your comfort zone. Right? If you're laying on the couch all day, not striving for anything, well, there's nothing to be stressed about ever. So that's not good. You're not growing as an individual. So stress, recognizing that you have it and going, okay, well, this is a good thing. Now, how can I manage it and not let it take over my day and let me get angry at my wife or angry at my employees or make bad decisions? And so the first thing and the easiest thing to do is to just breathe. And this is something that, a lot of people don't do, or we don't do properly, even though we do it every single day, every single moment. But just slowing down your breath, taking in a big deep breath into your belly, so diaphragmatic breathing through your nose. So let's say for 4 or 5 seconds, you inhale, hold at the top, and then exhale for another 5 seconds. And just do that, close your eyes, and do it for, maybe a minute. And this will make a massive difference. It'll lower your cortisol levels. It'll lower your heart rate and just allow the stress to sort of relax. So that's the first thing. If that doesn't get rid of it, then we want to go into more things like maybe some meditation if you practice meditation. Or, we can get into exercise. Exercise is a fantastic way to relieve stress. Now, exercise is also a stressor. So if you're going to go in and do some high intensity exercise, may not be the best. You want to try to feel your body out. But the other thing is to get enough sleep. The more sleep you get, the better you can be at managing stress. So, a lot of it is preventing ahead of time. So eating well, getting good sleep, etc. But then it's, if you do have it, noticing that you're stressed and then taking the right approach. And it can be different for everyone. Maybe you don't like to exercise. Maybe you like to dance, or maybe you like to sing, whatever it is that's going to make you happy and sort of lower your stress levels, then do that. But you just got to recognize that you're actually stressed and then take the right approach. And that'll make all the difference in the world and stop it in its tracks usually.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought up the meditation. I know in other episodes I've talked about meditation. Meditation for me is first thing in the morning. It almost happens. I get up at 4:50. I'm meditating by 5:30 every day, right before the workout. And it's been something that has literally changed my life. I had a health coach that I had get me into meditation. And at first it was like, what am I doing? This is stupid. But then you learn and you start to understand what's going on in your mind. And you learn to watch it, right? That's the whole point of meditation, is to watch your thoughts and be able to slow it down and literally get to just where there's no thoughts, or at least being able to be calm. And so in times of stress, matter of fact, yesterday I had a big day of stress, In about the middle of the day, I literally had to just stop, like you were talking, and just take a few breaths and just really kind of look at it from an outside picture and realize that this too will pass. You know, these stresses happen because they happen to everybody, right? I mean, it's no matter what you do, whether you meditate or take a bunch of breaths or whatever, stress is still going to happen, and events are going to happen that cause stress. But, you know, to shorten the time window where you're not dwelling on it long enough, that's where these breathing exercises really come in.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if you continue to let stress take over, you know, you get into things like adrenal fatigue where, you know, all of a sudden you can't sleep enough. You wake up tired all the time. You start to crave a lot of sugary, crappy foods, and it just leads you down this path of essentially burnout. And, you know, if you can prevent that while still, you know, getting into all these stressful situations, and because you don't want to stop yourself, you don't want to remove yourself from stressful situations, because, you know, as a business owner or a business professional, you want to put yourself in those so you can continue to get better at what you're doing. But it's just managing it. And like you said, meditation is an absolutely phenomenal way to do it. And it's not just about the time that you're meditating. What that teaches you just about your thoughts, about your brain, and how to control what's going on in your head for the rest of the day is huge as well. So I also love meditating in the morning, because then it sort of gives me that confidence that, okay, whatever comes at me, you know, I think I can handle it. You know, I know how to control what's going on in my head, the thoughts that are going on. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, man. I mean, you nailed that on the head. That's exactly what it is. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I mean, are you looking to build a company, a large kind of following or a large organization, or are you just living in Indonesia for a couple of years to surf and enjoy?
You know what? It's such a difficult answer because things change so quickly. Like a year ago, if you asked me if I'd be living in Bali, doing this, there's just no way this would have came up. I was still in the corporate world a year ago, actually. So it's tough to say. You know, what I really want is to be able to continue to teach and help as many people as possible. I mean, that's my goal with this, is just to help people feel better. So for me, you know, I'd like to write a book. And so I think that's one of the areas that I'm getting started into. I'm still focusing on trying to figure out life here in Indonesia and, you know, building my clientele and just sort of getting those systems in place with health coaching, because I love this and it's definitely something I want to do. But I definitely want to build more and be able to reach more people. And I think, you know, writing a book is a good way to do that. I love to present and speak in front of audiences. So I think I can see myself, you know, going around and speaking at different events and stuff too. So I see that as part of my future, but you know, who knows? I love business. I love investing. So, you know, I'm just kind of an open book right now and just kind of see what opportunities arise and just going to continue to follow, you know, what makes me happy. And right now it was coming out somewhere to surf and being in good weather. So, you know, when I'm happy, I can help make other people happier, much easier. Right. So I'm just going to continue to follow, you know, what I want to do in that moment, and we'll see where it leads me. I don't really know.
Man, I think you hit that spot on as well. You don't know, but you're taking the right actions. Writing a book, I mean, I want to challenge you to do that, because I think you already have a story, right? Going from corporate America to starting your own online business and moving across the world. Are you by yourself? Do you have family or anybody there with you?
No, completely by myself.
and you know what? That was a growth strategy for you, I'm sure, that has allowed you. You probably, after this, you know, wherever you end up landing next, you look back at this and say, wow, look how much I grew in that amount of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can already kind of feel that now. You know, I've only been here for a month and a half, but just seeing, you know, the people that you meet and just the things that you learn, you know, being by yourself traveling, I think is absolutely amazing. And so even just being a month and a half has been a great experience. And, you know, I plan to continue this for obviously a lot longer, but you're right. I think when I do move on to something else, I'll always think back of this move of, you know, leaving the salaried corporate job to just kind of go into the unknown and then go across the world and see what happens. But so far, so good.
That's huge, man. That's huge. Well, Kyle, I appreciate everything that you've shared with us so far. I think it's, this is all about health, right? And the importance of health in business, and without it, you have no business. Being able to travel across the world. I mean, this is a business podcast, right? So Kyle has had the opportunity to start a business online that has allowed him to move across the world. And now he's doing it internationally using the internet. I mean, what a powerful, powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
But, for sake of time here, are you ready for a lightning round?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. If you were to give our listeners one hashtag tip, what would that be?
One tip on anything?
On anything. Yep. It's your hashtag tip to keep our listeners moving forward.
I think it's don't be afraid of failure. This is something that so many people get caught up in and are scared to do things. It's just try it. Nike really nailed it on the head with just do it. I love that quote now. And because I think, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's right and who's wrong? Just do it. And, if you want to do it, just do it and figure it out afterwards. That for me is the biggest thing.
Yeah, man, just do it. That's killer. That goes across the board, no matter what business you're in or whatever. Just go do it. Don't be afraid. Thanks for sharing that. Do you have a favorite book that you've read that's had a massive impact on your life?
Yeah, for me, How to Win Friends and Influence People was by far the best book that I've ever read. You can use it and apply it in sales, of course, but you can use it just for life in general. So it's easily made the biggest impact in just, in my business, in my life in general. So absolutely love that book. I think I've read it 3 times. The other one, if you want to be someone who can, work online and travel, would be the 4-Hour Work Week.
Yeah.
By Tim Ferriss. That's the one that kind of made me realize that, hey, I could go somewhere and continue to work. Yeah,
man, that's huge. What about who's giving you the best advice? As far as mentors, coaches, family, who's giving you that? And what was that advice?
So a long time ago, I was 18 years old. I had no aspirations of being in the business world. I was a carpenter at the time, so framing houses, and that was kind of what I thought I was going to do. And then I got involved actually in a network marketing company. I'm no longer in it. I'm not in network marketing, just so everyone knows. But I was 18 and I jumped into it. And you know what? It was one of the best experiences for me because it made me learn a lot about myself and develop myself. And one of the guys that was running it, named Al, he was one of the head guys there. And he told me, you know what, speak to as many people as possible and just learn something from every person that you meet in the world. And if you can do that, you're going to be a smart individual. And so from that day, I kind of took it and said, okay, everyone I talk to, even if they're, if they have nothing to do with what I'm doing in life, find out something you can learn from them, because you're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to talk to a lot of people. So if you can learn one thing from every person you meet, you're going to learn a hell of a lot.
That's phenomenal advice. I've actually never heard that advice. I mean, it makes a ton of sense, but we talk to everybody all the time. And I fall victim to this myself. I'll raise my hand where I'm talking to people sometimes, but I'm completely not even there, right? Exactly. I'm thinking about something else, and that's the wrong way to go about it. So I appreciate you sharing that. Mm-hmm. How do you like to give back? Other than you're giving back to people by showing them the importance of health, what else do you do?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one at the moment because I'm here in Indonesia. So I think life is just changing. But, right now it's supporting those who kind of just need more. And you find a lot of it here in Indonesia, right? There's a lot of people that aren't as lucky and fortunate as those in, let's say, North America. So for me, I just try to be as good of a person as I can to everyone that I meet, whether they're a local here or they're a tourist. I try to have a conversation with them. I try to have a real discussion with them and listen to them. And I think listening is huge because people always have a story to tell or have an issue they want to talk about. And so I've just made it, kind of a mission of mine to just listen to people here and if people need help, then be there. I've got so much time here in the day. So I'm just trying to support and help, anyone that I'm meeting, whether they're from Indonesia or they're a tourist that I've met from somewhere around the world. So I think that would be the thing at the moment.
That's awesome. Well, where can the listeners reach you? If they want to learn about your program, we got busy professionals out here, so hopefully you're going to get some interaction from them to get them back on track health-wise.
Mm-hmm. So a few ways. Mainly, I'm on Instagram. So, I talk to everyone on there. If you want to DM me with questions or talk about potential coaching, you can hit me up on there. It's at HealthSimple and then underscore at the end. So HealthSimple underscore. You can also check out my website, which is healthsimpleinfo.com. You can get to everything from there. I have a podcast. I have, recipes and kind of everything that you need to learn about health there. You can also get to my health coaching page on that. And then I'd also recommend, I just wrote a new guide for busy professionals. It's called 7 Steps to Eliminate Brain Fog and Boost Energy. So if that's you, just go to the website. You'll see it under free resources. You can download it. It's free, and it'll give you a good foundation to feel good every single day.
Man, that is awesome. You've just provided a ton of value to everybody listening to this. It was really great to talk to you. That's for sure. I got a lot out of it. I think you got a really good thing going down there. And once again, my hat's off for taking the plunge, moving across the world, checking out something new, and in the process, you're helping other people. So thank you for that, man. We'll talk to you real soon, Kyle.
Thank you so much, and love the questions and love the chat here. It's great to see that you're, taking health, by storm yourself and optimizing how you feel. I absolutely love seeing others that are doing that. So good for you, and keep crushing this. I love the podcast.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you real soon.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. You good to go? How was that?
That was good, man. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I love doing this. I love meeting people like yourself. Like literally health for me, when I was 16 years old, I used to race motocross as a kid.
Okay, cool.
And when I was 16, I put myself into a coma for 10 days, 32 days in the hospital. And after that, I had a brain injury. And so when I woke up from the coma, I had to relearn how to do everything again. Read, write, walk, talk.
Wow.
Make my bed. I mean, it was like a reset button in my brain. Now, the way that it works is that all the wires got disconnected, they say, in my head, and it was just a process of reconnecting them. So now I don't have any memory loss or anything like that, other than basically the day of the accident and like 3.5 weeks after I woke up from the coma, I don't know about. Mm-hmm. But other than that, after that experience, I took health. I just was like, health is everything that I want to know about. I got a degree in health promotion when I was in college. Cool. And it just is like, man, it's the most important thing out there.
Yeah, absolutely it is. That's I used to be, when I was in sales, actually, it was for a company that taught physios and chiros and doctors how to treat and manage concussion. So it was in the brain, and not full on brain injury like what you had, but more minor brain injuries. But so I definitely understand, the significance of that. But that's amazing that you were able to just make a full recovery and be able to do what you're doing now. That's really cool.
There's, I'm not an overly, spiritual person, not a, but there's a reason why I got a second chance. And I believe that this is one of the reasons, being able to share information with people, doing what I do on a daily basis for the real estate deal, and just trying to help people out there. Right. I mean, the year after the accident happened, I actually started my first company. So which is crazy. So I don't know. I guess the accident maybe clicked me, flipped the switch in my head that wasn't there.
Everything happens for a reason, right?
That's it.
Who knows the reason why? But hey, it looks like it's worked out in your favor. So that's awesome. That's a crazy story.
So how can I help you? What can I do to help? Either with growing your podcast or growing your reach out there. I mean, there's a shit ton of people out there that need your service. I mean, period. Need the help of somebody who can coach them through not only the workouts, but also through the diet, and making sure they're eating correctly to allow them to sleep correctly. Because you touched that on the head too. I didn't meant to talk about that, but.
What, sleep? Yeah. Sleep's huge. Help me. I don't know. I mean, the biggest thing is just, I'm trying to get exposure right now with what I'm doing. I mean, the podcast, I love podcasting too, by the way. I think it's a lot of fun. And so for me, I'm just trying to let people know that, there is a way to feel better. I think a lot of people just don't realize that. They're like, oh, well, I'm not sick, so who cares? I'll just keep eating what I eat and keep doing what I do. And it's like, yeah, you're not sick now.
It's coming though.
Yeah, it's coming. I guarantee that the statistics are really, really friggin' high, especially as you get older. Or it's like you could also just feel a lot better. So for me, I'm just trying to get that message out there and let people understand that, because the earlier that people figure that out, the better it is for them. I don't know if you want to share some of my stuff, I would love that. Especially that guide, that free guide there. I think that's something that people love. They love free stuff. So
I would love to give that away to the audience. So what we can do is a special promotion where we give that out with a t-shirt or something like that.
Cool.
People love that. Yeah. So if you could communicate with Natalie about it, we're going to add all the information in the show notes about how to contact you and about how, all of that. But we'd love to give that out, share that. Hell, I'd like to give that out myself, because I think it's the reality of it that you have to be healthy, and most people are not.
Absolutely. How long have you been podcasting for, by the way?
This is 50. So like a year.
You do one a week?
Yep.
Cool.
So you're episode 57. I think we're on like 51 now that's aired. So
okay, gotcha.
Try to record them ahead of time, because I'm gone. I'll go travel and do whatever.
Yeah, gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I think I started in March of last year. I'm on episode 50. Comes out this week. So
good for you, man. What are you? Are you editing it all yourself and getting it out there? Are you on Libsyn, or what are you using?
I switched over to Anchor. I was on SoundCloud, but you couldn't get on Spotify, so I had to get away from SoundCloud ASAP. So I went to Anchor. It's free, and it just connects you to everything, so it's pretty sweet. I edit them right now. I did have a VA for a little bit that I had hired. She was from the Philippines, and so she would do it all for me, and like make the Instagram posts from it and set up the website stuff. But I recently got rid of that. I'm going to get another one, I think, soon. So right now I'm doing them all myself again. But I mean, with podcasts, it's pretty easy. There's not a whole lot you got to do. Like if you're making videos on YouTube, then it's a shit ton of work. But with podcasts, it's pretty simple.
Literally, Natalie does all of it, and I can't. I don't have any time to do any of that. She does a phenomenal job. Are you on? You're on Instagram. Do we follow each other on Instagram?
I don't know.
It's at the Scott Bauer.
The Scott Bauer.
Yeah. Let's see. Because if we're not, all the social media platforms and all the, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Yeah. I got you. There you go.
But yeah, man, good deal. Happy for you, man. I really am. How old are you?
29.
Yep. So it's exciting to see young professionals like that take a leap of faith like that. I know so many people that were so scared to do that. When I graduated from college, I moved from Iowa to Arizona, which isn't across the world, still in the US, right? But it was that was a huge move.
For sure.
Move. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was definitely a stressful thing. I had a business rolling already, so it wasn't the worst. Like if you were to, there's a lot of people that are here that are just like, I quit my job and I just want to figure out a business, and they just come out here to do it. I'm like, that's risky. So it's a little bit better when you had something sort of rolling. I already had clients and that. So it was like I had income and whatever. But still definitely stressful. But that's the beauty of focusing on, learning to manage stress. I've been doing that for years. So I was able to just kind of power through it. And you know what, once you get here, you're just like, this is amazing. Why was I stressed?
I've never been there. So, but that could be in the plans here. So
I highly recommend it, man.
I look forward to keeping in touch with you. And when I decide to come, we'll have to link up, do some surfing.
100%. Let me know.
Cool, man. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of today. Talk to you real soon.
Yep. Sounds good. Take care, man.
See you, man.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast to help us spread the word. Go ahead and reach out to Scott Bauer on all the social media outlets for suggestions on topics and guests for the show. And check out investthispodcast.com for more secrets and resources to achieve real success in real estate.